Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and I'm your guide for everything Chinese medicine and also a little bit of feng shui. And I'm feeling kind of nerdy today. I'm actually thinking about doing another series that goes less Chinese medicine and more writing. So that's my other passion. I'm going to kind of ease us in a little bit here, okay? So I'm going to talk about something that is super duper nerdy. So buckle in, kids. We're in for a ride. I'm going to examine the different species from Star Trek from a Chinese elemental perspective. Oh yes, we're doing this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention the species and talk about their qualities and say, okay, what element is this most like? So I may do a second one with some minor ones, but these are going to be the major ones from the canon. No, I am not going to examine Discovery because one, I've never watched it, and two, what I've watched of it, which has been incidental stuff, I do not consider it canon, so okay, moving on. All right, first of all, let's go with what we are, which is human. That is the species coming from Earth. They look like us. Basically us in the future, assuming the timeline remains the same. It hasn't. Okay, so what do humans do in this universe? Well, they're really into information. They're very kind. Really into medicine. They will help out anybody that needs help. Even the ones that tried to kill them 5 minutes beforehand. I know, weird. They're also really into exploration. In fact, that is the stated purpose of the United Federation of Planets and Starfleet, is to go out and find new things and meet new species and learn things from them and teach them things, etc. So, what element is this most like? Water. Water is all about teaching. It's about healing. It's about helping. Not as much nurturing per se, but it's the exchange of information, okay? You're going to have to do the hard work on your own. That's a big thing with water, but, you know, we'll push you in the right direction. One of the weaknesses of water, however, is it can spread itself out very, very thin and then disappear, which is one of the things that we see with the humans. They're kind of everywhere, but if they're spread really thin at a certain point, the other empires can easily mop the floor with them until they figure out the weakness of that empire, and then bam, 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 problem solved. Okay, so one of the things with water is it always seeks the path of least resistance. If there is resistance, it just sits and waits. It's very patient. Okay. Water is also about teaching. It is about healing. It is about exchange. It's also about retention. Okay. Water is very vast. The deeper it is, the more it can hold. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. Let's go with their buddies, the Vulcans. All right. Now, Vulcans, as we all know, big on logic, pointy ears. Vulcans are also kind of quiet. They don't like to provide information, whereas the humans do. Humans are like, yeah, we can talk about it. It's fine. There's only so much I can talk about, but I'm happy to help you. Okay? Whereas the Vulcans are like, no, sorry. You got to pass this, this, and this before I am willing to even give you the basics of it. Okay? Vulcans also have kind of an air of superiority, even though they have kind of a sense of humility-ish. They are very into cut and dry. It is this or it isn't, because logic. There is no, well, it could be, but not really. It's like, no, it is or it isn't. That's how it is. So guess what their primary element is? Metal. Vulcans are very, very metallic by their nature. Okay? They exhibit all of the qualities of metal, even its more martial side, because remember, Vulcans are significantly stronger than humans, and the reason why they are very into logic is because it quells that aggressive instinct that they have to destroy, which is another quality of metal, because swords. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Let's move on to one of my personal favorites, the Klingons, one of the most fleshed out societies in Star Trek. Now, I also do want to qualify that this is not individuals, this is the species. This is the way their world is structured. It's a nature versus nurture thing. I'm speaking merely on both sides, and an individual can be completely different. Okay, moving on. So, let's look at the Klingons. They are highly aggressive. Very, very ready for war. It's kind of the whole raison d'etre of their existence is to get with the fighting. They tend to spread out very, very quickly. They love conquest. They are very, very powerful. They can spread themselves thin, but given enough time, they always get stronger. And they're always adaptable. And the cool thing is they keep that which they have had before. It's adding, 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 adding. The Klingons are heavily based on, like, the Mongols, the Vikings, the Scythians, very, very nomadic, but homegrown, and very aggressive peoples from, our history. Okay, that's how they were written. Vulcans, on the other hand, to backtrack a little bit, once they gain something new, they tend to keep that and get rid of the old stuff that's no longer useful, because that would be ridiculous, which is another metal trait, by the way. So, with all of that in mind, what are the Klingons most like? Wood. They are a very woody people. Reason being is the very first weapons we used were sticks. Okay? So wood is about fighting. Wood is also about anger, which, the way most of the Klingon warriors are depicted, they'll beat you up very, very quickly. Kind of their thing. Okay? So, the Klingons, also very much so about reaching out, like I said, which is a wood thing. The homeworld, Kronos, is kind of their holy place. This is where they sprang from. They stay there-ish, but spread out at the same time, which is wood. Okay? We'll get to a fire species in a little bit. Okay? Wood is highly adaptive. It will bend and go around things, but retain that which it has always had. It just brings in new, okay, to make itself stronger. Nature of wood. All right, moving on. So, let's talk about one of my other favorite is the Ferengi. Big ears, big nose, loves money, big personalities. They also tend to spread themselves out. While they have a home, a Ferengi may not always go back. Now, it is where their capital is, but the Ferengi don't have an empire. They have an alliance, which means things are kind of loose. Okay? There's nothing that says you have to live here. There's plenty of Ferengi that live within the borders of the Federation, the Klingons and the Cardassians, and various other species. They're just kind of there, and they love doing business. When you meet a Ferengi, he walks up to you, "Hey, how you been, buddy? Come on in. I got some stuff to show you for the right price. It can be yours." Okay? They are very, very flashy. They wear very large, garish things. They always have the best that they can get a hold of. And they're also very, very good at swinging a deal. It's kind of their religion, literally speaking, as established in Deep Space Nine. So, what element do you think the Ferengi are primarily built out of? Fire. Told you we were getting to a fire one, huh? Yeah, that was pretty quick, wasn't it? Now, the reason for this is fire is about reaching out. It's about spreading. It doesn't have a base per se like wood does. It just is constantly reaching out. It's also very, very bright and flashy and fun. That's the Ferengi. Okay? It can rub you the wrong way if it gets a bit too bright, right? Okay then. So, the interesting part is the Ferengi home planet Ferenginar is very wet. So in order for the Ferengi to, get into space and do stuff, they're going to have to be the exact opposite of what their planet is. Otherwise they'd have never left. It would have been kind of the space equivalent of a city-state, and that'd have been it. You wouldn't find anybody else outside. Or if you did, it'd be rare if they had patterned themselves after the element of their planet, which is primarily water. Okay? So, let's see here. What was another one that I had outlined? Yes. The Federation's enemy, the Romulans. Cousins of the Vulcans. However, these guys have not embraced logic. They are with the old ways that the Vulcans used to do. So basically in Vulcan history, when they started to adopt logic, Romulans said, "That's dumb. Bye." And they left. They wandered around for a little bit, settled a few planets. One of them went sideways, and then they settled Romulus, met the Remians, had an awesome empire. Star went supernova because of a moron, and there we go. So let's look at how the Romulans tend to behave. They're highly secretive. They are very martially oriented, even among their own people. The Romulan imperial government is very totalitarian and also highly emotional, but it's well-placed emotion. When you, according to the lore, when you speak to a Romulan, you know that there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and they're allowing you to see what they want you to see. Yes, emotions do come up, but they're not, oh my goodness, none of this melodrama stuff that you often see from the humans. Okay? They do spread themselves out, but it's very, very calculated. It's very, very intelligent. They do not share information if they can help it. So, what element do you think they are? Give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're metal. I know, shocking. They haven't changed that much from the Vulcans. The only real difference is the emotion. The Romulans are what the Vulcans would have been had they never embraced logic. Okay? So their nature hasn't changed, just the manifestation of that nature has shifted. Okay? Just look at the way their society is patterned when you see the lore. It's also really fleshed out, especially if you play the online game. Very, very metallic. Very, very dark. Whereas the humans, very, very bright and fluffy and flowery. And lots of blue everywhere with the humans, whereas the Romulans, really, you've got gunmetal gray and then neon green. That's the most you're going to see. Nothing much else. Okay? Which is also one of the reasons why there's such friction between the humans and the Romulans. And the humans and the Vulcans, too. But both governments help out the humans, if indirectly. Okay? Here's why. Metal creates water. Okay? Water creates wood. That is why each one tends to make the other one stronger. Okay? So the Vulcans and the Romulans, because of their interference with humans, make the humans stronger. The humans learn things from them, if indirectly. The humans also can make the Klingons stronger because water makes wood. Okay? That's what you pour on plants to make the plants bigger. Okay? even though the humans and the Klingons have always been fighting, and because plot armor, the humans tend to win. Okay? In reality, at best there would be a stalemate. Okay? It would take a very drastic shift of government for the Klingons and the humans to become friends, which happened in Deep Space Nine and elsewhere throughout history, and then it falls apart because the Klingons get stronger, and yeah. All right. So let's move on to another one of my personal favorites, the Bajorans. Okay. Very spiritual people. They are very, very into farming for the most part, very into literature and art, and if you got a problem, show up to a Bajoran's house. If they like you, they'll give you a meal, shirt off the back, and hey, if you need anything, give me a call, okay? They are very, very into helping people out. It's one of the reasons why they fell apart before the Cardassians. So also look at what their main colors of dress are. Okay? Earth tones. They're very into oranges and yellows and gentle reds and browns and stuff like that. So guess what their element is? Earth. It's also the only one I haven't talked of yet. So imagine that. See, Earth is all about nurturing. It's about food. It's about helping. And it's about making sure that you are taken care of. Whereas water is about helping you out and pulling you out of a tight spot. Earth will stay there with you. Okay? They will become your best friend as long as they remain welcome. Okay? Or as long as the get is good. Okay? So, that's the major species of Star Trek that I enjoy. And if you want me to continue on with this, do some of the minor species, I'm probably going to move on to another IP and do some other stuff with that, just to kind of illustrate some things. And then eventually I'm going to move into straight writing. That'll be another series on this channel, something I've been wanting to do for a while. We'll see. All right. If you want me to, please leave a thumbs up and make a comment down below that says do more, do more, do more, something along those lines. I don't know, go nuts. If there's enough of a pull for it, I'll do some of the minor species like, say, the Tellarites, and maybe the Andorians and so forth, and we'll go from there. All right, so hit that big red subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, as I said, and if you want to get in touch with me directly, feel free to visit my website at vigintmed.com. That stands for Vigorelli Integrated Medicine.com. I'll talk to you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.